Hey folks, thanks for playing World of Tanks and thanks for checking out this World of Tanks video. In case you've seen other videos of mine, doing something a little bit different with this one, and that includes this kind of lead up to the match. As I experienced it, as I was cutting stuff together to put this video together, heard the music that was going on here and kind of the game's lead up to the match, and it seems like in kind of this Valor update that they've started doing with the game, it seems like they've changed up some of the music pieces, and that music here leading up to the match just seemed seemed kind of inspirational. So I wanted to put that in there, see if it worked out. We'll see what happens, see how it goes. I also noticed not too long ago when I was playing, earlier today, at the time of this video's recording, that the music playing at the end of the matches seems to have changed. In particular, I noticed it after a victory match, a match that our team won. I noticed that the music was different than any post-game, post-victory music that I've heard in this game before. So anyway, it's kind of interesting, just some stuff that I'm noticing here, changes to the music. I don't know that I've heard that music that we had at the beginning, and I don't know that I've heard the music that I've here recently heard at the end after a victory. Anyway, this match is just kind of entertaining match to look at. Maybe kind of exciting toward the end, maybe exciting throughout the middle as well. I'm in the tier 6 British Bulldog, British Bulldog. It's a tier 6 British heavy tank, premium tank, and it does have preferential matchmaking, which means it has a tier 6 in normal +2, -2 matchmaking conditions. It actually doesn't see any higher than tier 7s. It's a pretty fun tank to play. I have just gotten through the tech tree tier 6 British heavy, which is called the Churchill 7 at tier 6, and this is basically kind of a premium variant of that tier 6 Churchill 7. It has kind of a middle or early package kind of a gun on it for that tank, for that tech tree tank. This one also actually is a little bit more mobile. It just, for all that it looks really slow as we're watching it here, it actually, compared and contrasted with that tier 6 tech tree, this is actually quite a bit more mobile. I didn't really look at the numbers, I just sort of noticed that as I was playing this match, because I had been playing the Churchill 7 tech tree variant. So here at the beginning we see a whole bunch of enemy heavies. In fact, it's like half their team or something that's pushed up here into like this C3 area. So I head that way, slowly but surely, and take the shots that I can get. You notice that I tend to put myself in situations where I only have shots at one of the enemy vehicles at a time, most of the time, which means that only one enemy vehicle at a time has shots on my vehicle. And so as long as I'm basically putting myself into kind of those one-on-one situations and make sure that I kind of have the upper hand in those situations, it's good for me. And to the extent that it's, good for me in terms of preserving my hit points and good for me in terms of damaging the enemy tanks, it's inevitably, as a result, good for my team. Anyway, I still have not taken any damage from the enemy team tanks, and at this point I'm in kind of a potentially dangerous situation here. Now I've taken some damage, but I have an enemy tank on both sides of me. If maybe this if maybe this heavy had been a little bit less aggressive in exposing his vehicle to mine, and if maybe this is Ripper heavy medium tank, the Ripper medium tank had been just a little bit more aggressive, If they had put themselves in situations to basically have one firing on me while I was looking at the other, or aiming my gun at the other, then that could have gotten very bad for me, especially with that vehicle, that other medium kind of back there coming in behind me now. If those three vehicles had basically teamed up against me in a more coherent, more cohesive way, things might have gone very differently. As it is, I've done okay at fighting them all off together. Slow down that guy's ammo rack for him, and then an ally finishes him off. And of course, we still have 2 enemy artillery left, and they might as well be shooting at me. Might as well, probably more exposed to their fire than my 2 ally destroyers were there at that time, and I'd certainly been spotted up by that medium behind me. So I'm taking a break. I move forward behind that intact train car there, kind of wait for myself to become unspotted in case they decide to fire on me there, fire on my last known position to them. I was kind of moved forward a little bit, but also I was behind that intact train car in case that intact train car provided me with at least a little bit of protection. Well, one of my last remaining destroyer allies moved forward, got himself eliminated. Toward the end of the matches, by the way, it's as valuable as ever, as important as ever to move forward with your teammates, to work with your teammates rather than driving off on your own. But yeah, well, this is exciting stuff. This tank is moving real slow. Looks like my engine has been slowed down. It looks like both of my tracks have been slowed down. So at this point I'm aware that my only 2 remaining enemy tanks are artillery pieces, and so I decide I might as well go ahead and use this cover, this overpass or this bridge, put myself in a position where those artillery pieces are going to have a very difficult time hitting me. Locate one. He was kind of, seems like maybe he was ready to shoot in this direction. Maybe he was thinking I was not going to use the cover of this overpass to my advantage as I located him and shot him. That's okay, that works out for me. But that's what I did. I had a sense that he was kind of over in this part of the map, so I decided I'd use this overpass as I tried to locate and fight him. Alright, so yeah, 1 remaining enemy tank, the last enemy artillery, of course, and if you see that my ally destroyer is way down there on the edge of the water and locates the enemy artillery, I indicate that I'm heading that way, even if I can't do so very quickly. And using the minimap right now, it looked like that ally destroyer was in the water, and there again it looks like he's moved into the water. I'm not for sure what's going on there. That definitely looks like the icon is in the water. Maybe he's just on that corner. The artillery is no longer lit, and that's pretty clearly looks like that destroyer's in the water there. I don't know. And indeed, looks like he had gotten himself into the water. So, the last known location of that enemy artillery, was down south. I don't remember exactly the square. And I didn't remember the exact square while I was playing this match either. That's one of those things it's usually a good idea to do. Nevertheless, with the amount of time between that last known location of the enemy artillery and me getting there with this tank, he could have moved quite a bit. So I'm just kind of pausing, taking my time and considering the situation, and also thinking about the possibility, like if he moved where he moved to, maybe giving myself a chance to spot him if he was moving across my field of vision or whatever, line of sight at that time. And I'm thinking about how I can put myself into a position to basically spot up kind of this backside of the enemy spawn area, backside of the enemy base area. Put myself into a position to prospectively see the enemy artillery and also have fire on the enemy artillery. And I'm thinking that these buildings, these little kind of shed buildings, provide, similar to like that overpass, the roadway there, these provide opportunities for me to sort of shoot underneath while also being protected from artillery fire. And this guy had his back to my direction, so I came at him from the appropriate way for me. Might have been better for me to have tracked the artillery with the first or the second shot, as it was after that second shot. I think he only had like 9 or 10 hit points left, and so it might have been the case also that one or both of those shots was a little bit of a low roll. And yeah, maybe under common circumstances that would have been a 2-shot kill instead of a 3-shot kill. In any case, you just generally want to be as careful as you can be when you're fighting enemy tanks, right? Kind of makes sense, kind of a smart way of thinking about it. Probably would have been better to have tracked that enemy artillery. In any case, I do come away with the kill, with the win. Do get 6 enemy vehicles destroyed, which I think is the Top Gun medal. Yeah, and then also deal the most damage in the match, which means I get the high caliber medal. So those are fun to see. I think this British Bulldog, let's go ahead and talk about that. I think the British Bulldog is a pretty good vehicle to get into. It's one that they don't make available very frequently. It has really good armor, a lot of hit points, has a good fast firing, high penetration gun. And also that preferential matchmaking is always really nice, meaning that you're always either top tier or just one tier below top tier in the matches that you're in. Well, I hope that you have enjoyed this video. Please consider a like, a share, or a subscribe if you did. Thanks for checking out this World of Tanks video. Thanks for playing World of Tanks.